We'll call the meeting to order. If you wouldn't mind standing for a moment of for O Canada and remain standing for silent reflection. Thank you. Good evening, members of council and viewing public. We'll call the meeting to order. Members of council, you've had a chance to look at items on the agenda. Is there any disclosures of conflict of interest? Seeing none, that'll be noted. Adoption of the minutes of the closed meeting held August 24th, 2020 be adopted, and the regular minutes of council August 25th be adopted as presented. By Councillor Desjardins, seconded by Councillor Dietschel-Spagnolo. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Mayor's comments. Sadly, we had 3 staff members who lost close relatives, and we also lost Frank Macheri. Frank was, on behalf of LaSalle Council and all of our employees, we extend our condolences to the Frank Macheri family. Mr. Macheri passed away on September 3rd. He was the chairperson of our Vision Our Future fundraising campaign to help build the Vollmer complex. We are grateful to have worked closely with Frank while he volunteered to support a recreation complex. The Vollmer complex opened in 2008, and thousands of people have participated in the programs, services, and events offered at the facility. Frank's legacy lives on in LaSalle. Presentations, we have none. Public hearings, delegations. We have report E1 to support a healthy ecosystem for local journalism. Council's pleasure. Councillor.
I'll move the recommendation.
By Councillor Reno. Councillor Reno, did you have a question, comment?
I was just going to say that I will move to receive the report.
Okay. So move to receive and endorse.
Councillor Carrick, would you like to endorse the report? I was just going to receive, but if you feel that it needs to be endorsed.
I don't think it hurts anything. I think it just supports what we were talking about earlier by losing our local newspapers. And if that's the case where the feds and the province can pump more money in and make it more broadband, more spread for different opportunities for people to do more local news, I think that's the intent to this. And if I'm wrong, then so be it. But if I think that we should support something like that, I would think. And I would support that if that's okay with you, if you want to change your motion.
Yeah, I take that amendment.
Okay, thanks.
So moved by Councillor Carrick, second by Councillor Reno. All in favor? That carries unanimously. Thank you. Item F1, Bylaw Committee meeting minutes of September 1st, 2020. Councillor Akpata, anything to add as the chair?
I was in an acting capacity, Your Worship. I think the minutes speak for themselves. I look to my colleague, Councillor Richo Spagnuolo, to see if there's any amendments, deletions, or corrections that she sees.
No, none noted.
Okay, council's pleasure. Moved by Councillor Reno, second by Councillor Akpata. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Item G1, financial statements for July 2020, or up to July 2020. Questions? Councillor Desjardins.
I would make a motion to receive the report. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Desjardins, second by Deputy Mayor Meloche. Looking for, oh, yeah, there's Dale. Dale, I just have a question if you're there.
I'm here.
Regarding the supplemental levy, I noticed we're a little above budget. I thought we were higher. I'm assuming there's another batch of money coming in.
Yep, there's a couple more runs to come in between now and the end of the year. So we should see that number increase. And at this point, we're tracking higher than we were in 2019. So hopefully that will help with next year's budget.
That's good because 2019 was a good year.
Yep, it was.
Okay, thank you. On the motion, all in favor? That carries. Thank you. Item G2, summary of reports to council. Moved by Councillor Carrick, support by Councillor Reno. All in favor? That carries. Thank you. Bylaws. We have one bylaw. All three readings on the bylaw. Councillor Reno moved, second. Councillor Richo Spagnuolo, all in favor? That carries. Thank you. Councillor questions? Okay, we'll go with Councillor Akpata, then Councillor Desjardins.
Through you, Your Worship, just wondering if the municipality has received any concern about our stop signs at pedestrian crossing. I've received a number and actually went out there and looked, and especially with school starting and the bus companies extending the distance that our children have to walk to school, I just wanted to make sure that the safety of people using those pedestrian crosswalks that say stop for all pedestrians, if there's any concerns that have been noted to the municipality, to our administration.
Our CAO, Mr. Militia, will take that one.
Again, just we've had the off concern that's come forward, but certainly it's come through the Public Works Department, and Mr. Morrow would be able to answer those a little more appropriately.
Nothing has come forward, Councilor Akpata, with respect to that matter. We have been reviewing, subject to council's direction back in August. We have been looking at upgrading the one at Malden and Ream. We're currently out getting prices. The material's been ordered. We're just waiting for material to come in to upgrade that one. So that is underway. We had the design had a quick turnaround of a week and a half, which was very impressive. So that is underway. At this point, all the other stop for pedestrians meet the requirements of the Ontario Traffic Manual, as stated within the guidance of the OTM book, requiring those pedestrian crossings. And certainly we've reached out and tried to do some public education campaigns so that people are aware of what has to happen at a crosswalk, both from the responsibility of the pedestrian and the responsibility of the motorist as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mara. Mr. Militia has something to add.
Just to add something further, we have received a little more feedback just recently as we've posted more information on how to safely use crosswalks. So we've brought some attention to it, and that has drawn some comments coming from the and feedback coming from the public. But certainly, as more and more people get more accustomed to using that, we anticipate that they will be much like the roundabouts were when we first installed them. It took a little bit of getting used to, and some public media helped with that. But as now, I think everyone pretty much is very comfortable with them as well. So again, we expect that that will be something going forward that that we will see more feedback coming back until people get used to using them.
Thank you, Your Worship.
You're welcome. Councillor Desjardins.
Thank you. Through you to Peter. I know, Peter, this is something we've talked about, and I've had a couple of more concerns voiced in the last week or so about how the town easements are being torn up by the communication companies, MNSI, Bell, Cogeco, to put in the fiber. And people are very concerned that we're not leaving the easement in the condition that it was in. They understand that it's our property, not theirs, but they maintain it. Is there anything that we can work with the companies? Unfortunately, it seems to be MNSI, and they have a subcontractor that's an issue. Is there anything that we can do to help the residents, Peter?
Thank you. Certainly that has been expressed by a number of service providers that are going in. Most service providers do have subcontractors that do the work. As those things are brought to the town's attention, we will go specifically look at specific locations,
Okay.
try to work with the contractor in getting those back to an acceptable level and things of that nature. We do not have any sort of securities in place with these contractors. They have the right under the Telecommunications Act to go in, whether we say yes or no. We can say no, but we could be brought to the TRCT and challenged with through that Telecommunications Act. So we have put things in place where we have agreements with them, where we do approvals and things of that nature. So we work with them. So certainly anybody who has concerns, please let us know, and we will ensure that that gets communicated to the contractors, and that we have our inspector, one of our staff, go out there and review how things are being done and left in that nature. But they do a final walkthrough at the end of the project to ensure that things are cleaned up and in a safe manner.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Appreciate it.
I don't see any other hands. Did I miss anyone? Okay. Statements by, Councillor Ekpata.
One more, Your Worship, that relates to my first question about the crosswalks. Has the municipality received any documentation from the bus companies on the change of the routes, the distance that students, should they be going to school, are going to be required to walk? And have we looked at the safest ways to get our young people from their houses to schools?
Mr. Militia.
At this point, we've not received much correspondence from the bus companies. Again, I think most of that comes out of the rules that are through the school boards. Again, they have changed. We have heard some feedback that they have changed the minimum walking distances, as made them longer. So there will be more folks that are walking. Again, that's through our offices up here at the town hall. Through Public Works, we may have received other comments. I'll turn it over to Mr. Mara in terms of other comments that we may have received.
Thank you. Anecdotally, we have heard it, but nothing formal from bus companies per se of what the changes have been. I believe the first go around of when I became aware of it was one of our planning advisory committee meetings when they were speaking on a planning matter where they were bringing up the increased length. That was the first time that I actually heard they changed the busing requirements. So certainly it has a significant impact, Councillor Ekpata. As you are aware, there's a lot of streets that don't even have sidewalks. So in order for us to look at trying to figure out the safest way, we may, if council wishes to make sure that everyone's safe, we may be putting in a lot of sidewalks in areas where don't have sidewalks right now, just in order to get people to the main spines and the main corridors. So certainly that would have a significant impact if that's the wishes of council. As part of one of the items on the CAO's list is a pedestrian safety initiative. That was one of the things that we will be looking at. It's still an outstanding item. We are planning on trying to get something brought forward to council at budget time with respect to that, because it has budget impact, so that we can work on trying to find a way to prioritize pedestrian safety initiatives, sidewalks, trails through areas, and what should rise to the top and what should be the easy fruit, the quick pickings of the fruit, and what should be kind of put on the back burner per se until the appropriate time of a road being rebuilt or something of that nature. So that's what that was looked at. So certainly nothing formal from the bus companies per se of what effects that might have and what areas are hardest hit.
Just one final comment. Again, we have heard back from some of the school boards and even some of the parent organizations. So we've, through the police department, we're going through and adding 2 additional crossing guards to our complement to assist with that. Again, we're doing our best. Sometimes, again, the crossing guards position is sometimes very rewarding. Other times it's thankless. But we are trying to recruit 2 additional crossing guards to help with that with the challenges we have in that area.
A supplemental, your worship, to the CAO.
Go ahead.
Just with your comments, sir, is it the school board or the bus companies, do they consult with municipalities when these changes take place, or is there a different flow on that information?
Generally speaking, it's a bit more reactionary. They change the rules and we react to it. Again, that's generally how it's been part of that. There is some communication that happens between the school boards and the police department. Again, that's not privy to us here at Town Hall, but because the police department is charged with scheduling the crossing guards, they do handle most of that, but there is some of that happens. But generally, the rules are changed by the school board, and then it becomes a reactionary process after that.
Thank you, your worship.
You're welcome. No more questions. Statements by council members. Reports from committees. Notices of motion. Confirmatory bylaw. First reading, Councillor Reno, Deputy Mayor Malash, all in favor. That carries. Second reading, Councillor Dicho Spagnolo and Councillor Akpata, all in favor. That carries. Third and final reading, Councillor Carrick and Councillor Desjardins, all in favor. That carries. Thank you. That's the end of our meeting. Good night, everyone. Good night, viewing audience. Have a great night and stay safe. Take care.